we have to apologize. We've been kind of missing in a while. Life got busy, things got busy, but we hopefully we are back now.
You are doing great things, so we understand.
We're doing good things, I hope. Anyway, so this week's episode features the amazing Kutemwa. We've had her in the past, and she's back to tell us more about what she's been up to, life post graduation, all that jazz. Jackson, how are you feeling, my guy?
I'm feeling good, man. Just job change, this life, and like Nelson said, we apologize to our viewers. We know people have been reaching out to us saying, "You guys, we missed those videos." Like, dog, man, life has been lifing. As we say that, so it's just been like this moment of adjusting after graduating, trying to figure out life abroad, and that's what has kept me busy mostly. But now I think everything is a little bit settled. I'm settled in my work. I'm settled in my community, and I think things are good. So I think we're good to go. Going forward, I think we're gonna be good. How about you, man?
Yes.
How is it?
Pretty chill. I think now I have some breathing space from whatever I was doing. It's been a crazy few months here in the diaspora, but anyway, we're surviving. And like you said, I think Wake has also kind of revamped. It was super busy during the last few months of the year last year, but we're back now. Things are kind of evened out, so I have some time to pursue these hobbies of ours. But Skute, welcome to today's episode. How are you feeling?
I'm so happy. It means so much to be back. And just like you guys said, also, it's just a huge shift. Like everything that's normal is not normal anymore, and it's like you just have to adjust to everything. So yeah, but I'm really happy it's going well, making the changes I need to make, getting better every day. So yeah.
How, how you said you just graduated? How do you find a job that quick? Because back home we have people who finished school in
6 years.
6 years ago and they haven't found a job, and you say it's been 2 weeks since you graduated and you already found a job. How does that work?
Oh, it was a journey, I would say. Okay, so last year I was deciding at the beginning of last year, I was deciding if I should graduate in December or in May, the following May, because I was technically scheduled to graduate in May. But I was like, if I can find a worth it thing to do, like for the January to May, might as well graduate early and start doing that. So I started in May last year, like applying for jobs, like looking for different positions, talking to people I know and like them referring me, and everyone was saying, "Oh, it would be good if you work at the national lab." And the struggle of that is, security clearance, and we don't want you to steal the nation's secrets. And so it was rough in the beginning, but then I started getting interviews, like through August I had some interviews, but it turns out they hire like really close to the start date. So I would be interviewed in August and like, oh, once someone starts in September, I'm like, I'll still be in school in September. So it was a struggle. Like I really applied to so many places, and I was still trying to decide, like, should I really graduate or not? Because if I graduate and I don't find anything, yeah. But anyway, I kept applying, and I told myself, you know what, this is what I want, so I'm going to do it. So I filled out the paperwork saying I'm graduating. I still didn't have a position by then, and yeah, I kept on applying and applying and applying. Lo and behold, I got an email. So it's a lot. Anyways, I made a spreadsheet. I'm a spreadsheet person. The first position I found was at the national lab, and when I tell you it was the perfect position, like when I found it, I was so happy, and I applied, and I hadn't heard back from May. I applied in May. I hadn't heard back from May until November, is when they got back to me. And they were like, "Oh, let's schedule an interview." I prepared for that interview. Like I stalked those people everywhere. Like I was like, and then we get to the interview, and it turns out they had already given me the position before the interview. So they were like, "Oh, tell us about yourself." I was there saying how much I love the lab. I'm like, "Yes, I've seen the work that you guys do." They're like, "Oh, that's good. Okay, so what project can we put her on?" Inside discussing. "Oh yeah, so let's put her on this project." Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it worked out perfectly. Like there's nothing more I can say other than like it was just lined up by God, because all these months I was toiling and interviewing and applying, not knowing the very first place I applied to was my position. And it
Yeah.
Yeah.
worked out at the perfect time. So that's all I can say. It was just really arranged by God. They allowed non-citizens, of course, like they know I'm going to start school in August, so they timed it so that I can work for like 8 months. Like it's just perfect in every way. So
Mm.
yeah.
Nice.
That's interesting. How did you find your job, Jackson? Because it sounds like Kutemwa was really proactive from the get-go. She knew after graduation she needed to even before graduating, you needed to apply to schools. How did you go about your stuff?
Yeah, you're supposed to be proactive with these things. Proactivity, like you need to know what you want by the time you
Mm-hmm.
even in freshman year. There's some freshmen I met when I was still in school. But some freshmen were like, I'll think about that in my junior year. No, I'll think about that in my senior year. I'm like, no, you need to think about that now so that you know
No,
what to
yeah.
do to get there. When I was, still a freshman, I thought of what the people that graduated, like what the job hunt is for somebody who is like in my field, what
Mm-hmm.
are the requirements, what do they need to do, what can give you an edge, in the application process and stuff like that. And from freshman year and asking around, I was told if you have internships, they really, really help you. And if you get the internship and you do good, you impress them and you like the company, chances are they might give you a return offer. So from freshman year, that was my mindset. And so sophomore year, I did an internship with Lenovo. I liked them, loved Lenovo. They gave me everything I needed. They were like the starting point of my career. But then
Mm-hmm.
in my junior year, I was like, let me try something different. I applied elsewhere. Of course, when I just say apply, there's a lot that goes on in the application process, of course. But I'm just saying, like, in simple terms, applied to Bank of America as an intern. They gave me the intern as a software engineer. And then during my process, of course, you have to impress the bosses and the team as well. And then by the end of it, they were like, yeah, we like this guy. We want you back. And so I was lucky that they gave me an offer just after my internship.
Wow.
And so I didn't
Yeah,
even,
no.
like, they say that, no, you need to apply. Like, you don't know, they might take it back. I was applying, but, my mind was like, I think God has given this to me. Like, why am I even, like, putting so like, even if I was applying after they gave me the offer,
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling like I was just like just for the sake of let me just do it. But I knew that Bank of America really loved me. I made an impression there, and then yeah, when I graduated, I just knew where I wanted to go. The lectures came through and everything, and here I am working for them. It's been what 7 months now, so
So,
it's been
so
good.
wow.
It's been good.
That's been your experience so far, Kutemwa, with working in a national lab. Is it
Before
something you like?
before I answer that question, what of
Mm.
you, Nelson? How did you find your lovely position, and how has it been?
Yeah, I think we all have a similar story. I don't know if it's a new season's thing or an international student thing of being proactive or like trying to map out your next steps even before you are like in step one, you're already mapping out step seven. So in my junior year as well, like during my internship at Novartis, I, you know, reached out to a few people who were in my field, asked them, okay, what does a career in this thing look like? What do people who graduate with this degree do? So they gave me a couple of options. You can go to grad school immediately after graduating. You can decide to work for a bit, but the jobs are kind of difficult to find because, you only have a degree. Um, you're an international student, all that jazz. Also told me you can do a postback, which is more of an extended internship and it's more friendly to international students. So I was at a school that really wasn't the best in terms of STEM or wet lab experience, so I decided to go for a postback because I just felt like I needed that experience. So I looked up a few postback programs. A few people sent me the ones that they already knew. And boom, like Jackson said, I applied, but there's so much background work that's going on there. But I applied and I was accepted, and here I am. And this, I should be going in should be 2 years in May.
Binshim. What's that black? I mean, what's that guy's name? 76 drums.
So it's
What's
just,
that song?
I'd see big machine shop
Big
there.
machines. These are big machines.
Yeah, no. So how has it been for you, Kutemwa? I know you've just been there for 2 weeks, but how is the work scene looking?
It's very interesting. So in my chemistry ness, I have three possible paths to take. There's
Mm-hmm.
academia, universities, then there's industry, then there's national lab, like government, I guess, which are completely different from each other. So everyone has always told me like, oh, academia is very, like you really need to be focused and it's very involving. Industry is, they have money, it's nice, but then you have to work for profit. But then government is like the middle. Like everyone has told me it's always like this perfect. So I was very excited to see how the environment would be because it's like maybe I could also take that route for my long term career. So being at the lab is interesting. I have certain restrictions, of course, because I'm not a citizen. So there's like certain areas that I can't go, and like certain things that I can't do, certain things I can't bring on site. And I have to check in with someone when I'm going on site, when I'm leaving the site. It's like they have to monitor basically everything that I do,
Mhm.
which I expected. It's actually it's much smoother than I thought. Because I thought it would be like someone is watching me all the time. Like I just didn't know what to expect. They have systems in place because they have a lot of foreign nationals there.
Mhm.
They set me up to like have my own desk and everything on the first day, so it's very organized. That I really really appreciate. I would say the process of like getting access to the labs is very long. I'm still going through the process, so I actually haven't started like doing research, but I'm
Mhm.
still getting to do a lot outside the lab, which is good. And I'm also getting to see like a different side. I'm sure we know all the transitions happening right now. There's like a lot that's changing about how the lab operates. It could just change in an instant. So that's also interesting to see like how the people are navigating that, and like yeah, being able to see this happening up front also lets me see like, oh, this is possibly how a career in a lab would look like. So overall it's great. The people are great, the systems are great, and I'm learning a lot. Yeah.
So what are you hoping to get out of this job?
Well, so I plan to do my PhD. So
Hmm.
um, I don't know if they would like offer me a job now and then wait for 5 years. Like I don't know. I don't know if it would be like Jackson situation. But it's more so just training. So the thing about my career, I guess, is the research I was doing in undergrad is not the research I want to do in grad school.
Hmm.
It's in a completely different field.
Well,
Um,
let's start from there then. First of all, what was your major? What was your research in undergrad? And what research do you want to do?
I'm a chemistry major. Okay, so I've always been interested in energy in general. So my school
You've
it's
graduated. Was.
is still my place, my home. So yes, I'm interested in organic chemistry, and there's only two professors at my school. So basically, I was very limited in the research I could do. But I was doing research on lithium ion batteries, and I learned a lot, like a lot. That project took me places. I ended up getting a publication before I graduated. That was amazing, and I was so
Yeah.
happy. And like I got to a point where I was able to run my own project that I came up with in the lab. So I grew so much from that project. I'm very, very happy. And it introduced me to just energy in general. But I
Hmm.
always knew from the beginning like it wasn't something I wanted to do in the long term. So I was always like one eye out searching to see like what other project would I be more interested in, like, for a career. And so my last summer, that was summer of junior year. So I also did internships my freshman and my sophomore summer. And then junior year was when I learned about energy conversion. So that's like
Hmm.
converting carbon dioxide back to fuel or to other products as well. Which I was like, yes, I can see myself doing this because I'm very passionate about that now. So yes, I did a summer internship, but it's 8 weeks, so it wasn't as long and extensive. Like I didn't really get to dive into the field as much as I would want to. So now this internship is in that field. So I get to it's a chance for me to like cement my foundation before I start my PhD, just learn more, do more. And also the level of research at this lab is probably higher than I'll ever get to do during my PhD. So it's just a great like spring, yes.
Is
This
that renewable energy?
yes.
Yes. Huh, we might need that in Zambia. Because Jackson, you were saying the Kariba Dam is dried up, eh? Eh.
Who's done the research for you? Just implement
Hire
what
me guys,
you
hire
say.
me.
Yeah, it's an appeal. We're appealing to the government.
No, but that's a very interesting situation as well right now.
Do you think we can have such a setup in Zambia?
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt
No
we
doubt.
can.
What would it take? Like,
So it's so right now, a lot of nations are pushing it just because of, first of all, climate change. Like it snowed in New Orleans this year. It hasn't snowed in 13 years. So anyway,
mm,
there's just like a lot of signs that are pointing to we need to do something about
Definitely.
the current state of the atmosphere. And
mm.
so this research really aims like directly to change that by like literally taking the waste and making it into something useful. It's been really successful so far in many countries. Like Germany has a huge, industry that does that there. So it's possible, it's been done, it's viable. I think what it would take is just a more of a push, because right now there are many scientists in the lab who've like made huge breakthroughs, and it's like we can see how this can be applied, but it's not really talked about as much. And so I feel like if it's pushed more, talked about more, and scientists get to share more, like in a what's the word? Well, outside the lab anyway, just like in a more global setting to share about what's happening, that would definitely like increase people's antennas towards it.
Why isn't it pushed more and talked about more?
Okay, this is I'm still learning more about this field. But a few years back, there was this huge convention where they were talking about global warming and saying, oh, the temperatures have increased by like 1.5 degrees Celsius, like globally and on average. And they said, oh, we want to make sure it doesn't go above two degrees. So they gave all these targets and started pushing like carbon dioxide conversion, especially because carbon dioxide is a major culprit of what's happening. So it's like back then everything was pushed, and so there was a huge like people started researching it more, people started trying out different projects, but back then it wasn't as advanced, and so it really wasn't viable back then. And so
Mm.
it's like that narrative has carried on to today. Like even though there've been so many advances, it's much better and more viable now. It's like no one is really talking about it now. So it's like it's like, kind of like it missed its prime, and that it's getting better and improving. There's not much like traffic around it, I guess.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a very interesting situation, definitely.
Yeah. So what's your long-term goal with it? Let's say you do a PhD in carbon dioxide conversion into, I don't know, ethanol or whatever energy source you guys think of. Where do you want to take that? Do you want to take that maybe to Zambia? Like what's your overall goal? Like how would you like this to go forward for you?
So the very interesting thing is
Mm.
that the sustainable development goals,
Yeah.
no shade at all. So it's supposed to be green if the goal has been achieved based on the standards that have been set, right? So the US has none of them are green based on last year. Like there are some that are making progress, doing great, but none of them are green. So I was so scared to look up Zambia. I'm like, where are we? Like
Mm.
If the US is like this,
like what are we doing? So anyway, I looked up Zambia, and we had like two green ones. One of them was climate, like in terms of the
oh wow,
environment. So I went and I'm
That's
really
low-key
happy about it.
surprising.
I
And
know, right?
no, it makes sense because there's not as many emissions as here. Like here, industries are huge and like so much more energy is needed. Zambia has hydroelectric power, and like I feel I can see how better it is there than here. So I would say my specific field wouldn't be as important in Zambia as here. That I am very, conversant with. But my main passion is just teaching chemistry in general
Mm.
and being able to share what's happening in the scientific community with everyone, those who are just joining the field and whatnot. So in terms of long-term career, I see myself just teaching. That's the main thing I want to do is teach. And I really want to be able to establish my own well, I don't know how it's going to look exactly, but establish my own institutions in Zambia that really push research more and like have people get that experience. And I also want to I love speaking. So being able to have a platform, like I mentioned before, where it's like no one is really talking about, what's happening in the lab. And I want to be able to be kind of that bridge, be in the lab and be able to go out and tell everyone what's happening somehow. And we'll see how it goes. But those are my major goals.
That sounds a lot like scientific writing. Have you considered maybe just for starters doing like articles and linking what you are learning, applying it in Zambia or wherever you want, just universally and just posting it? I don't know, LinkedIn on your socials. Like I think that would at least have some eyes on what's going on. I don't know, just build a following slowly.
Yes, so that what you said is like perfectly what's been well where I want to be.
Mm,
So there's been it's interesting because I'm trying to figure out my LinkedIn brand, I guess. Most of
mm,
the things that I do on LinkedIn are more like to help people find internships and things like that. Then there are a few times when I do post about what I'm doing in my field, carbon dioxide conversion. I think there've been
mm,
like two posts so far anyway. There's actually this competition that's going on right now it's like an essay competition, but your work gets published. So hopefully there'll be good news out of that. But that's like step one, and
Okay.
then we see where it goes. But that's a great point. Just being able to like already start now, um,
Yeah.
sharing everything.
I know me and Jackson talked about this. I can't remember which episode, but the way now we have like internships here, conferences, we don't have that back home. What can we do? What should we do? I know we probably have like jets, but jets has I I don't know. I feel like it's outdated. There isn't any actual conferences where people are getting to present their research, and maybe there actually isn't any research going on. Like, I don't know. Like, how can our country tap into the research field? Because I'm a huge proponent of research as well. I'm a bio major, so I love like researching your own stuff instead of just getting what other people have already researched on and applying to yourselves. Like, we're all supporters of medicine, but medicine is just application of already, written down literature. Maybe I'll start with you, Jackson. Like, what are some of the steps that maybe the Ministry of Education should put in place, or maybe just the students themselves? I don't know. It's kind of hard to put it on the students
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if there isn't a platform, like, what can you do?
I know, I know. To solve it, it's not gonna like happen overnight. With the emergence of social platforms like we have now, and talking about this,
Mm,
it's the start. Well, at least we start the conversation. Somebody out there might have seen this, and then they're talking to their friends. I'm like, yo, did you see that episode of Jackson, Nelson, and Kutemwa when they were talking about this? They mentioned something like this. So at least starting the conversation is one thing. But
mm.
we need more of such. We need these to be the conversations we're having, like pretty frequent,
Yeah.
because we don't even talk about these things. I'm gonna speak as boys first for a second. We as boys, we can talk about football like crazy. We know what's going on in England and Spain. We know who did what the day before, every detail. But when
Nelson
it
Yeah.
looks
comes,
so guilty.
I know. I'm so guilty right now.
well, I'm guilty as well, by the way. Like but then when we talk about important things like how can we improve our country, yeah, our education system, nobody even talks about it. And then come back home again on the social platforms that could be used for good. People use it for foolishness. They use it to go there and just gossip, just check on what your maps has done, who has your maps insulted, who has your maps got broke.
Yeah.
I'm updated with such information because that's all I see when I go to Zambia's social platforms. So,
Hmm.
like, the first step, at least for me, is starting positive conversations like this. Let's, like, sometimes we don't even have to have a solution. Let's just lay out the problems we have. Just speak about it. That you start having solutions if people are aware of the problem. Sometimes people don't even know that the problem is there because
Yeah.
the thing is normal to them until you point it out, like, bruh, that's a problem. So I think for us, let's start having more of such conversations, put it out there in people's faces, our families, our friends out there. Let's make sure that these are some of the conversations we're having. And then with time, we're going to start coming up
So
with
to lay it out there, this is a problem. The fact that we're not actively doing research, talking about the research that we're doing, it's a problem. It's a field that's lacking in Zambia that really needs to be addressed.
Yep.
Um, so I think like Jackson said, it's really about talking about it. That's the biggest thing. And it's hard to see a problem when you haven't seen how a solution can look like. Us who are here out in the diaspora, who have seen how much impact such conferences and research can have, it starts with us. We've seen the solution. And it's easy for us to be able to see how the bridge would look like. That exposure. And recently I've had the opportunity to be part of the National Society of Black Engineers. It's based here, but they have an international committee. Right now, I'm currently their strategic development coordinator. So it's exposed me to so much. So it turns out that they have so many chapters in Africa, Ghana especially, and it's NESB, National Society of Black Engineers. They have NESB Ghana, and they have conferences. Like they're directly connected to the US, and the US is able to fund their chapters, and they have conferences, and they share their research, and they are starting other chapters in Kenya, in different countries like that. And so seeing that, I'm like, yes, we need that in Zambia also. currently I'm learning more about it and then see how it can be applied. But yeah, it's amazing to see that there are countries that are already like tapping into these systems that are already established in the US and tapping into the support and tapping into everything. I was actually in a meeting yesterday where they were talking about having a Pan-African conference in Rwanda this year. And it's like, wow, like, oh, different countries coming together and people from the US will be there as well. And just being able to share research and being able to just come together to promote STEM in high schools and in primary schools. So it's being done. And it's
Yeah.
very possible to also tap into that and have such systems. Even other organizations I've come to learn have chapters in different African countries. And of course, there's something that can be done from the side of the Ministry of Education to be able to promote such programs. But that would be a great starter, like for them to see and facilitate such programs.
I just had a thought whilst both of you guys were talking, like talking about solutions, right? Thinking of something tangible. We live in a social media age, or the world is now so connected. I I think certain conferences are even done online. The only thing the person presenting has to do is have a PowerPoint. They talk about their research, and you just put them in time slots. You can even hold it for 2 days. Each person have 15 minutes, and then you have judges. You see whose research makes the most sense. You encourage them. You maybe find a sponsor. You give them something that they can maybe use as motivation to pursue more of that research. But I think it's something that's very doable. I'm not sure if I'm the best person to do it, but maybe it's something we should consider. Just having, I don't know, people who are maybe even just you can have medical doctors talk about some of the cases that they look at, some of the cases that are endemic to Zambia, how they treat them, what's not treatable. You can have lawyers talk about some of the common cases in Zambia. Like, it doesn't have to be STEM specifically. We can have people doing computer science come up with some of the problems that they think are, in Zambia, how they plan on solving them. Maybe Jackson knows someone who might have the funding for that, or maybe Kutemwa knows someone who knows a professor, because I think one thing that we lack as Zambia, which is kind of sad, is I don't think we have enough exposure as other countries. You talk about Nasbeck or
Yes.
whatever, Nesby having chapters in Ghana. It's probably because Ghana is so in people's faces. And when you talk about Zambia, like, where is Zambia? So we probably need to do more like branding and being out there in people's faces so that they can recognize us. But anyway, those were just some of my thoughts.
I won't speak for everybody, but I'll just use something that I had started back in 2021 with a group of friends
Hmm.
that didn't go far. So starting, I don't think is the problem. Keeping it going,
Yeah.
that's the problem. Because there's something that my friends and I started. And guys, if you're listening to me, please think about bringing this back. It was a good initiative. You should have seen us. So what
Mm.
we did, like most of us, like went to schools abroad, and it was like not just in Zambia. We had friends from like everywhere. We had South Africans, we had Nigerians, we had Liberia, we had people from Mozambique, we had people from everywhere. And then we were like, guys, we have so much experience, and we are all in the diaspora, and we know that our continent has problems. So let's create a group where we can meet regularly and then talk about problems and then solutions, because in the future we may need such collaboration. Great idea, great initiative. It started
Mm.
great. We were meeting every week, talked about issues, we had fun, and all that was going on well. And then all of a sudden, it just died. It was a good initiative. We had brilliant ideas. And then just because maybe one person stopped pushing things, that's how everything died. And so this begs the question, why don't we continue doing it? Like, why do we just stop? And just like, where's the motivation?
I don't know. To your question, maybe it might be an issue of frequency. Like, there's only so many problems you can talk about. How many weeks are in a year? Then every week you're talking about problems. So maybe
No.
have it like, I
Yeah.
don't know, once a year where everyone tables it. That way, people don't feel obliged to every week bring up problems, solutions, problems. That's just my thought, though.
They have to be obliged though, because the world is still moving. But to that point, when you say like let us meet 1 year, even that organizing of that 1 year, like
Mm.
we meet 1 year, then what? Because if you don't follow up on people, it will just be another meeting where you just talk and nothing happens. That was the thought process on let's do it frequently, so at least people, it's in your mind. You're like, yeah, And like every week, you know that I gotta do something like this, or you talk, reach out. The idea was so great. We just did it for I think 3 or so weeks, and then that's it. It died down. But the idea, the long term idea was, let's have a project and let's pick a country, and then that project we fund that project in that country and see how it grows there. That was the bigger idea. But then everything just died down from such brilliant ideas, and so like this is where this question comes from. And if I say meet once, we'll meet and then nothing happens. That's my thought at least. I feel like doing it on a regular basis keeps people thinking about it. If you stop thinking about it, the next time it comes up, that's when you'll be like, oh, let me now think of a solution or let me do this. that's how our minds work.
Yeah. Well, we hope you guys can get back to it.
Yeah, tell them.
Yeah.
It's a message, guys. It's a message from Nelson.
Yeah.
No, it's a
Ish.
really good initiative.
It was fun learning about countries like Liberia. Meeting people from weird places that they're in Africa, but then you never like it's crazy. We have like over 50 countries in Africa, but then somebody tells you a country that you've never heard of that is not like popular. They're like, really? People live there? Like people from Chad,
Shout out, Chad. Good country.
No, but it's amazing. It's interesting because I was also part of an initiative. I mean, for that one, the goal was more so like to help people who are trying to apply, and it was great. We had great connections, like all across the world, and yes, it was going. But the problem that was there, I think you said something, Justin, about like having one person be there. Only one person is pushing it, and that was the problem we faced because it's like the structuring wasn't very spread out to a point where if those two people at the top weren't there, nothing can happen
right?
because like they're the one, like everything is on them and there's no like division of, I don't know, responsibilities, and even just like empowering people to a point where anyone who's in the leadership can also spearhead the duties. And that's so important for longevity because like things happen, like us right now undergoing so many changes in our lives and careers. Like if I can be able to step back a little bit and say, oh, you will take the lead and someone else can take the lead. Yeah.
So we know the problem. It's organization, right? Jackson thinks there's a different.
No, it is organization and collaboration
They've,
as well. Like you need to.
sounds like that team of yours has broken you beyond repair.
I was broken. I was enjoying those, making plans because we were like most of us were like freshmen. And then I was just thinking of 5 years from now, if we keep this relationship and I want to set up something in Kigali, I know who to call. But now I've lost their numbers.
No.
I think it's also maybe, yeah, it might be a case of not really being on the same page, having the same interests, but not
Yeah,
being on the same page.
yeah.
Yeah.
And not putting in the same effort.
Yeah.
Again, projects that, we're thinking of, like, the people you collaborate with is important. Because
Yeah.
if you collaborate with somebody that, expects you to be like telling them exactly what to do.
Yeah.
If you don't
That's
tell
the
them,
problem.
they'll be like, I didn't know I was supposed to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a challenge.
Like-mindedness. Anyway, it pertains to a lovely country. Since I think one of the best quotes I've gotten from this is sometimes you might not know a problem is a problem because you just simply don't know otherwise. So what are some of the things that you guys are seeing currently in Zambia that are like, that's an issue, that shouldn't be like that, we should change that? And then maybe later on we can discuss some of the solutions that you guys might propose. I'll start with Jackson because Jackson always has a qualm to pick.
I think the first problem is the thing is how to like phrase these problems that I have without offending our lovely people back home. Because I'm also Zambian, guys. Don't attack me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think number one is I think we like most of the episodes we've had here, we've like talked about this over and over again, and I think it's a big problem. That's why I'm going to bring it up again. We lack proactivity, guys. Not everything can be told like exactly like how to do it. And we keep praising other countries like, Ghana, Nigeria. No, they're out there, they have more exposure. There's a reason why they have more exposure. They are out there. They are citizens. The crazy thing, when I started working at Bank of America, we had a meeting with our CEO. He was welcoming us and stuff like that. And then they were asking questions. Like, do you have any questions for him? And then one Nigerian girl, I remember, stood up, and then they asked her. One of our coaches, like at Bank of America, so they asked this question, like, "What do you want the power to do for you?" She said something profound. I think it was so simple for the people around, they didn't catch it, but I caught it and I felt it. She said something like in the lines of, I want the power to help more of my fellow people back home, not only here in the diaspora. I want to help Nigerians as well who are back home. And then you think of such mindsets of people in those countries, and then you wonder at the end of the day, why are they more exposed? Because their people do things like that. They're intentional about things. They know what they want for their nation, and they go out there and push for that. So one problem I've seen about us, we hate our own. Like if
Mm.
anything is Zambian, we look down on it. Anything that's not Zambia is good. We need to develop love for our country. If you love something, you want it better. And so you also get more proactive. You'll be thinking about problems, solutions, and things like that if you're more proactive. If you expect handouts every single time, of course, you'll be given you accept what is given to you. Proactivity for me is the biggest one. We need to stay proactive, think about even Africa. Just look at, like we've talked about Nigeria and Ghana. Look at what they're doing different. Rwanda. Rwanda came from nothing. Now they're like doing good and advancing in things like technology and stuff like that. Because they're intentional, their citizens are intentional about things. I remember when I was in Rwanda in 2015, I threw a bottle, and then somebody was like, "Why are you throwing the bottle? Like, the police might come and arrest you for that." But then when I engaged in conversation with him, I was like, "You guys are like the government said you should do that, and you guys do it." They're like, "Yeah, because if we don't do it, our country will be dead." So I was like, "Oh, really?" It's just such mindsets of people when they love their nation. So I just think about Zambia, go back home, and then we just see the way things are run, and then you ask people, why are you doing this? So there was a boat. This is not my problem, it's the council's problem. Such mindsets will never go anywhere. So I see the problem as, lacking the desire to do things for yourself. And also we don't love our country enough to, push for change and hope to see change.
That was a good rant. Okay, Kutemwa. We've taken tabs, Jackson. We'll keep it. We'll keep it there.
We'll keep
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I have a lot, but let's just keep it there.
Yeah.
For me, I have a bone to pick because I want to be a professor. I'm always focused on the education system. I have a bone to pick with the university education system.
Mhm.
So obviously, I came here. I didn't start university in Zambia, so I haven't firsthand been there. But I have a lot of friends, and through my friends, I've gotten to see just different schools, how things go, and things like that. And I'm a huge proponent of the high school system. Like I will continue on that hill because I have seen how good of a foundation that it gives overall. Like it really prepared me to be here and to be prosperous and flourishing. Yes, but the university system, I feel like, is cold. I know it's not every school. It's so demanding and it's so intense. I just want to talk about Ziali and the law people. Like,
Oh,
oh my goodness! Like sometimes I feel like it's not even measuring the success of a student after that. Like it's just unnecessarily difficult, and the systems are so rigid. And it's like I know right now. So right now, I don't know if you guys know that they are changing the whole high school and primary school system in Zambia, and
Mhm.
the high school and the primary they undergo changes so often. They change the curriculum. I have seen like how better it's gotten because of that. But the university system has been the same for years and years and years and years. And so many people are failing out. So many people are losing their bursaries and having to repeat. Maybe it's just the people I've been talking to and their difficulties, but it just seems so unnecessarily hard. And I have a bone to pick with that. If we could combine the high school system in Zambia with the university system here, oh my goodness, amazing.
Okay. Well, we'll start on solutions now, and we'll start with you. What do you think works for the university system here in the US, and what doesn't work for the one back home? Like, if you can go in specifics, that would be great.
Yeah, so the first thing that comes to mind is just like the structure of the classes.
Hmm.
And again, I haven't experienced Zambia, so this is just my speculation. I apologize if I'm wrong, viewers. I'm very sorry, but it's like the first of all, the length of time of some lectures is so long, like ridiculously long.
3 hours.
Exactly. Like, how do you expect me to pay attention for three? Anyway, the length of classes and also the structure of the classes as well. So Here we get to choose. I mean, I don't know if every school does this anyway, but we get to choose what courses we take, when we take them. I feel I can see the benefit in that as well. Just being able to structure your own schedule and also being able to take other classes. Like I'm from a school that is a liberal arts school, Xavier. And so we had to take classes in philosophy and classes in English. But also, if I wanted to explore some other class that is not necessarily in my field, I can do that. But the education the systems in Zambia are fixed, as far as I know, where it's like year one, you take this, year two, you take this, year three, this, and year four, this. And it's so rigid and strict. And I can see the benefit of just having like a little more flexibility in how things are done. And then also just in general, how it's governed is also an issue. I was just talking to a friend today. I think this is why it's on my mind. But I was talking to a friend today about how like when there are so many errors when they are entering the grades, and then you can't really like talk to anyone about it, and professors won't even listen to you, and it that also I can see that an element of just stress and unnecessary failures. And yeah, yeah, compared to here where it's like the attitude of the university is we want you to succeed, like come to me if you need anything, if there's an error I will help you. Having that has been so beneficial. And yeah, I can't even imagine being without it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Professors even have office hours in Zambia. You see a professor?
where?
Professors in Zambia, the first day of class, they tell you 50% of you will be dropped out by the by the next month.
And it's this huge achievement. Like no one passes my
Hey,
class.
nobody passed. Bro, then you are a bad teacher. Uh,
Those are really interesting points, Kutemwa. So the rigidity of the system seems to be working against us, and I do agree. How would you know if you're interested in something if you don't actually try it? So that's something that seems to be working for the US system. We've heard of people who've gotten depressed because they found out it was an F when it was supposed to be a C. Yeah, I think those are really striking differences. It's also maybe an issue of trying to make money out of it. That component I think is still there. And also in terms of talking about lectures, another thing that we've also spoken about on this podcast is they're underpaid. So you can't expect someone to put their all in something that isn't really giving them that much. But then again, that's a lazy argument because I don't think professors here in the US are also like well paid such that I think the underlying factor for me is that people back home don't do things that they like, and that's a major difference. People here do things for the passion. So even if you're a professor, even if you're not being paid millions of dollars, you actually like what you're doing, you know. But anyway, let's move on to Jackson. Jackson, what are some of the points that you made? I've forgotten.
but before we get to my point,
Yeah.
just to add on the university thing, it shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be hard. If the government is doing all these changes in the secondary education and all that stuff, why is it hard for the college level stuff? We've seen how like, you start freshman year with 100% of the students, right? By the time they graduate or they finish, that number dropped to like less than 10%. That should tell you something as a country. Something is going wrong here. We can't be having so many people either drop off, they just stop school, or they keep failing over and over. They are not passing. Like there should be a problem there. So I think the government. I think this is one of those where like we can't change. The government needs to change it. But I think
Mm.
talking about it, like I said, I hope, and our people back home don't complain to us. Yes, talk to us, but talk to professors as well, so that they know that this is a problem. Don't just tell us.
Could it also be a problem of incompetence? Like maybe a lot of people are graduating high school who are not actually capable of surviving in a university like life. Do you get what I mean? Like maybe these students we are overgraduating at secondary level and they're not actually competent. Like maybe they're just I don't know, maybe leakages or maybe the requirements of getting into college are so low that pretty much everyone is getting in.
That's
Could
the
that
point.
be an issue?
That's
Yeah.
the point. I think graduating high school, but like yeah, you might have used these other doors. So, but where to catch those people that use the other doors is the
Mm.
entrance to the university. We are making it so easy to enter university that anybody is welcome, even people that cannot read. So if we can, I think that's a good actually. The way we like onboard people from high school to college, if we can have more structure there, we can fish out the people that are not ready yet.
So maybe have them start writing like personal essays.
Who's going to read them? We don't have enough staff. But hire me to create a platform for you, Zambian government. I'm here for you.
Tell us about that platform. How would you structure that platform?
Yeah, because the complaint, at least from the small talks I've had, is the location of these papers, because you have to deliver it in person. You stay in Changombo, and the one to deliver your results in person in Lusaka, in the University of Zambia. Comes Jackson, brings that platform to you, and you can, apply at the comfort of your home.
Yeah.
And then the professors and people making the decisions, they log in on the platform, view your essay and all your documents, and discuss amongst themselves and give a judgment. You don't have to travel from Shangombo to Lusaka just for you to apply to it.
That's extra work for the professor, though.
It's extra work.
Yeah.
It's easier work. Because,
Yeah.
there will be. What would you rather? You are seeing a pile of papers to read.
I would rather, and this is actually creating more employment, we have recruitment officers. So we train these people who are specialized in reading these things, catching these things, so that, we don't pile up on the professor's work. Let the professor's job be to teach, to grade. Teach, grade. And then you have, recruiters whose job is to specifically sieve through all these applicants. I'm sure both of you guys are familiar with it. It's a total package. It's not just your grades. It's who you are as a person. It should be, why should this school get you?
You can go ahead.
I've never actually thought about that. That's a great point. Like how are we gatekeeping the colleges and admitting people? But I would argue that I'm very much a supporter of the Zambian high school. It definitely prepares more than the high school system here, just
I agree.
because of most schools do it like a semester, based. So imagine taking math for one semester in 3 years. Like I don't think I would learn as much as taking math from 10th grade to 12th grade. I'm going through the syllabus and things like that. I just go through it, and yes, there's a vigorous application process. But I've met people who literally had to learn to study in college. So I would argue that the gatekeeping isn't the biggest issue. I think it's the system itself. Like I don't think it facilitates people gaining the foundation, being able to figure out, how am I going to navigate these classes? How am I going to study better? As a tutor, there'll literally be free tutoring centers. You can go to your professor's office hours. You can go to this other student success office. Like literally, there are so many things in place so that people can learn. Like even though you are not good at something, if you fail here, you just want to fail because like literally, there are so many things in place that can help you like springboard. Even though you had zero foundation, there are things that can help you. Even like preparatory courses where it's like before you take math and you're not so sure, you can take like pre-math. I feel like that would have such a lasting impact because even though someone maybe wasn't ready from high school, they can get ready while they're learning.
But then maybe we need to revise it in such a way that we move with the modern times. Have everyone take programming 101. I think everyone in the US takes like programming 101, where you just like simply learn the basics. You know, I don't know. I don't think. I think it's an issue of both. The system is kind of flawed, and the eligibility or the requirements of going into uni are also kind of flawed. Like you're just admitting everyone and anyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good point.
But yeah,
I've been on the looking for solutions aspect of things. I think universities need to hire recruiters, like specialized recruiters, to look at these applications and look at it in a holistic way. Because right now it's just if you have 5 O levels, apply. You have an NRC,
NRC.
yeah. What do I go? It's reg. If you have the reg, apply. But not that we're just talking about problems here. I also want to emphasize we're trying to brainstorm solutions.
Yeah.
Go on, Jack.
No, I was just saying that this is one of the biggest problems we've noticed. I think. Mhm.
What do you guys think about electricity? Why is no one talking about electricity? It's a big
Ah,
issue.
Kutemwa has the solution. We
Just
finally found
just
a solution.
okay. So I'm very reserved about this issue because I know there's a lot that I don't know. I don't think I'm qualified to be like, yes, let's do
Well,
this.
if you say something you don't know, the people who know will probably correct us. How does a company, we'll call it company X, how does company X say they don't have electricity to save the country, and then company A comes and says, "Thank you for giving us electricity."
Without you, we wouldn't have survived.
I'm like, what
We
the
are not
hell?
surviving, Bago.
Anyway, we are all one. We are sharing. We learn to share these things.
Ah,
I,
ah.
I I think so. For me, from my perspective, I think the issue is lack of investment in energy in general. Because first of all, so again, correct me please if I'm wrong, but I think because we have so many water bodies and resources, it's very possible. Why are we depending on one dam? That's my first
Mhm.
issue. My other thing is, competition heightens performance. We have
Yeah.
one. We have one. So where is the pushing? Where is the like how come up to now there's no competitor in that area? Because obviously when another company is getting better and the other
Mhm.
is also pushed to do more, so grading, I know there's also a lot involved in that, but yeah, that's just my thoughts.
This brings me to a point of I always think about a lot, especially as applied to Zambians. Even I myself, I sometimes think we're not as ambitious as we should.
Mm.
Like we get so comfortable with what we have.
Exactly. Like,
Like we get
he said,
so
so,
it's
bro,
such
you
a
can live.
what do you mean company X is all you can have? Like
Yeah,
you mean to tell me we can't invest in coal, we can't invest in other water bodies? I think
wind. Yeah,
in addition to what you said, we also lack foresight. If we have Nshima today for lunch, we're not thinking about what we're going to have 3 days from now. As long as you have that Nshima, you worry about 3 days from now when that 3 days from now arrives.
They will
You
tell
know,
you, we sakamane fio kariama, you know. We
exactly. And
sakamane fio kafuala.
you know, we have this company X, and yeah, the turbines are running. They are so sure they will be run for next year. You
Bro, those
know,
things have been running from since David Livingstone Stanley to Jid.
it's like don't you guys have scientists who are actually monitoring how the world is progressing? Like, if Kutemwa can know the world has gained 1 degree Celsius in terms of its hotness and it has all these implications. Yeah, you mean to tell me your whole company has no scientist who's actually looking at the rainfall patterns in Southern Africa, some of the problems that we might encounter, and we're not trying to diversify? Like, I
yeah,
find that hard to believe. A whole Ministry of Education. Africa is one of the continents with the most sunlight on it. Like, you mean to tell me we can't invest in like solar panels? Like,
Rwanda did
what?
that.
Rwanda did that,
wow,
you
I didn't
know.
know that. That's great.
Yeah, 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 like
Rwanda is
Rwanda
doing
did that.
things like, let's look at, Paul as an example.
Okay, maybe not everything that they're doing, but most of it. But like, the point is, there are so many solutions. You don't even have to look far, right? We
Yeah.
know our people have been cutting trees like crazy to the many system, and the
Mhm.
more we don't have rainfall, the more we don't have electricity, the more we have to cut down the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So are we actually sensitizing the communities? Pretty sure we are not. There's
Yeah.
a there's an uncle somewhere who's cutting down a whole forest right now, burning all those trees, emitting all those fumes up there.
yeah,
So I think sensitization is also a big thing that we kind of lack. But I don't know. I have a big issue with our electricity crisis. I don't think it should be a crisis, especially in this modern day.
yeah.
You know,
And it
And
yeah,
should
that
we,
was
it
my
should
rant.
be like this. It should be such a crowning achievement that we are able to depend on hydro. Like, oh my goodness, so many countries have tried. So many
Yeah,
countries are trying to get there. Like, we have it. Like, we have a system, and it's working. Like, we have a model.
yeah. The argument is investment. No, we don't have enough money. We don't have enough what? But the money that we borrow, we put it in avenues that won't regenerate the money. So
Exactly.
it's like, okay, where's the thinking here?
yeah.
Anyway, we We've ranted enough. Kutemwa, any last thoughts? I know you have another commitment to get to, so we'll wrap it up somewhere here. Any last
Well,
words, commitment, call for action?
we were talking about systems and them, like Jackson mentioned, the group which died. And and I'm just thinking of this podcast, how you guys came together and how it's still going up to now, and it's really amazing. So I just want to say I love what you guys are doing always. Like, it makes me so happy just to be able to go back to the episodes and see the different people and the different perspectives. Like, the conversation is a huge part of change. So yeah, I just want to congratulate you guys on everything. And the thing about YouTube is these pictures will still have an impact like 70 years from now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are really doing the work, and I'm really, really happy and honored to have been back. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I know 70 years from now, people will be like, what? They didn't have electricity.
I hope so. I really hope so. We don't want them to be like, even then they still had this problem.
Yeah,
I know, right?
I really hope they say, what? This was a problem instead of, so it's been existing for a long time.
It's not you. They will use it as justification in their parliament.
Yeah.
It's not our problem.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think the final call to action is use what you have. Like, it's so easy to have a mentality of, oh, those guys will do it, or oh, it takes the government, or it takes this person, but in your capacity and in your platform, there's a lot that you can do. So it starts with you. Just do the little things that you can, and you never know how much of an impact you will have. Butterfly effect.
What's the quote? Ask not what the government can do for you, but what you can do. Ask not what the country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, Kutemwa.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kutemwa. Thank you so much to our viewers. Thank you for joining us again on another amazing episode. We are gonna deliver more of these. I think now we have more free time. Also than that, we're gonna try to stay consistent.
We'll try.
We're gonna try to do that. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us once again. And peace out.
Thank you.